people, sort of. Okay, so today, let me share my screen so you can see the title, because the title is one of the best parts in my opinion. Coffee is for closers. It's a joke. It's a joke, you guys. I have a mug that says coffee is for closers. Also, could be ABC, always be closing. Because we are going to be talking about closing today, okay? But not just closing, but also concerns that people have. I feel like a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from coaches is very much so like, hey, all these people are telling me these things of why they can't do it. And I feel like a lot of my coaches feel like that is just like a no, or people are rejecting them or whatever that looks like, when in reality, concerns, if you aren't getting people asking questions or pushing back, then you're not doing it right. Like, that is the natural part of anything that you do, right? And Lloyd made a great point. He said, that's why so few people make it as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is because there is so much of that. There's so much that you have to fight through. And most people just give up. I would say like 95% of people, it gets too hard for them. And I feel like for me, I was telling someone earlier today, like, I don't know if she's on here, Emily, she like was doing a glimpse week. She's like, hey, I got 9. This is her first any push that she did. She's like, hey, I got 9 applications. Granted, she has a big following, but she's like, I feel like I'm failing at it. And I'm like, girl, I didn't get 9 applications until like last year. And I feel like I've been doing this forever. Like, it has taken me a while to feel like I've made a break. But the only way that you get there is through consistency. So we're going to talk about some concerns, because when I learned about concerns, and we're calling them concerns, they're really objections, like why people don't want to do something or why they think they don't want to do something. And it has helped me so much. So basically, there's 4 types of, how many concerns? Yeah, 4 types of concerns or excuses. And this really helps me understand how to talk through them with people. I can't even tell you how much it helps. So here are the 4. And Lloyd's going to kind of talk through on some of this.
Actually, there's another page, Macy. I think there's maybe 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah, there's 5 or 6. Yeah, good job. Yeah. So the first one is hopeless. And that is somebody who is like dead set in their mind, they are not going to do this. An example for me is a girl that I have been communicating with for over a year about committing to a program, over a year. And she has just decided that she's going to continue to ask questions. Hey, can y'all mute yourself? Oh, and she has just decided that she is not going to do it, but she's going to continue to pick my knowledge and pick my brain. And I've had to like fire her as a prospect, because it's like, hey, you're hopeless. Like, you are a hopeless prospect and your concerns are never going to be changed. The other one is trivial. So something that might be like silly or unreasonable. One of the applications I got the other day, actually, sorry, I'm just like chilling. I'm making this real casual today. So one of the applications I got, I asked on my application, I'm like, hey, have you heard of Beachbody before? And the answer was, yes, not interested in the programs. And so I emailed her separately and I said, hey girl, question, have you ever tried Beachbody before? And she was like, no. That's a trivial excuse. That's a trivial concern. There's no reason for her to dislike Beachbody or to not be interested in Beachbody. She literally just has decided in her mind, like, so for me, I was able to classify that as a trivial concern. And I'm like, hey, what makes you not, we're still in conversation right now. These conversations could last forever. I'm like, what makes you like not interested in them? I know you haven't tried them. I know that maybe you've seen progress or seen people do it. Like, what makes you not like it? And then you kind of get to the root concern, and that's when I can come back with like a hey, either, and how to address them, which we're going to get into. Prejudice, when someone doesn't have not enough information, they're just prejudiced against whatever you're doing. Put off. Maybe they don't have a concern, but they're like, oh, I'll let you know, or I'll call you later, or I'll send you a text. Let me think about it. They're just putting it off. They don't have a concern. Half-baked is one that's only been halfway thought through. It's not real enough to hold them back, but maybe they just kind of considered it and then just like didn't really process it. And then the last one is genuine, and that is someone who in their mind has a real concern. Like they don't have enough time. They feel like they're really busy. They feel like they can't complete it. They're scared of commitment. All these things are super real to them. And we could also potentially see them as being real as well, and just helping them think through those concerns. Lloyd, do you have any comments at this point?
Well, the reason for all that is because our job as salespeople, as professional salespeople, we kind of see ourselves as psychologists and consultants. Think of a psychologist trying to help somebody with an issue that they need to resolve. Well, they're going to make all these excuses, and they're going to not really tell you the thing that's really bothering them or that's really in their mind. And buyers are doing the same thing. They're like not telling you the real reason. They're giving you other stuff. And it's our job as professional salespeople is to pull out the real reason that's causing them to hesitate. We're trying to find the genuine concern. Now, potentially one of these other concerns could seem real to them. Mm-hmm. And so we have to treat it as if it's real. We have to give them that respect. But really and truly, we're just trying to find the real, genuine issue that we need to deal with to get them to move forward to the next issue. That's why you need to be able to classify, what is this concern? What is this objection they're throwing at me? And then we can start trying to dig deeper and ask them more questions and try to get to the root, genuine that we need to build, that we have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, that's what has helped me so much is when someone just says, hey, I'm not interested. I've never even heard of Beachbody before, but I'm not interested. I'm closed off. And it's part of me wants to be like reactive towards that because I believe in the program so much and I know that it's proven over and over and over. But now that I'm able to classify it and I'm able to say, okay, that's just a trivial, like they're just in a trivial place. I have like a strategy and a system to go about it. And it has really like drastically helped me. Okay, so then there's like different means of handling these concerns. Okay, Lloyd, I'm gonna let you talk about these.
Okay, all right. So when you get one of these objections or concerns or whatever you want to call it, what do? Well, the first thing that we do is the thing we never do is we never debate, we never argue, we never disrespect them. The first thing we always do is cushion it. And cushion it is a method to get us working together with them as a team member. Mm-hmm. If you imagine sitting across the table with somebody debating something, that's where we don't want to be. We want to get on the same side of the table with them and help them work through the issue. And the cushion is all it is finding some point of agreement. So he says, well, I don't have time. And all you say is, I completely understand that. I have a hard time getting time in my day as well. Mm-hmm. I understand that problem. I agree. We just want some point of agreement so y'all can get on the same team. Mm-hmm. That's what the cushion is. And then once you cushion it, you kind of think, okay, what kind of objection is this? And then is it trivial or prejudice or half-baked or genuine? You're thinking that in a split second. But then you have to decide the next thing. When do I deal with this concern? Do I do it now? Do I address it right now? Do I wait till later? Or is it so trivial, I'm not even going to address it. I'm just going to go right through this one. So you have to make a decision. How am I going to deal with it? And another time that you can handle one of these is ahead of time. If you know it's coming, you're trying to sell something, you kind of know what it's going to be, maybe you can try to handle it before it comes up, because that's another time to handle these concerns.
I feel
And
like
then
that's the one you use the most and you feel like is the best approach. Would you agree?
I use before all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm in insurance, and so a lot of times we're having to deliver bad news, or we have to, say something that we know they're not going to like it. So I'll try to handle the concern before it even comes up. And but if I'm going through the process and they throw one at me, then I go through the process of cushion it, and then am I going to deal with it now? Which we're going to talk about how to deal with it
Mm-hmm.
and move on. But I'm just saying, part of the deal, after you cushion, you decide, do I handle this now or not?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
you can also handle it later, and it may be one so trivial you don't even bother trying to handle it.
Yeah. And with Beachbody, I feel like the concerns are almost always pretty much the same. It's a time issue. And for me, I'd be like, hey, I know this may seem like a lot of time is going into it, but I can promise you, you're actually going to save time by investing in this program and da-da-da-da. It's Beachbody. Hey, I know Beachbody has like a weird vibe to it, but that's actually exactly why you should be using Beachbody, because it's a huge corporation that can fund amazing programs, hire nutritionists, hire doctors, hire trainers to make the best of the best supplements. Price, hey, I know Shakeology is $120. However, it's a meal replacement shake. And what that means to you is that it's only going to cost you about $4 a meal. And when you go to Chick-fil-A and you pull through and get a salad,
like that one
like
you
$12 and not efficient. Sorry, I'm going to use buddy.
Yeah, Macy, one thing, let's bring up one thing. All those things you said there were perfect, but there's 2 or 3 words that we never use.
Me.
We never use the word however, but, although. So if we want to say something like, yeah, Chick-fil-A costs blah, 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 blah. Well, you don't say, however, Chick-fil-A does this. You say something, period, and then you start a new sentence. You take out the word however, but, because that puts us in that argumentative situation. We stay away from that.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah. But I usually, like if I'm having a one-on-one conversation with somebody and I feel like that's the signal that they're giving me, I go ahead and address it immediately, and not wait for them to address it. Okay, how will you handle it? Go, Lord.
Okay, now before that, it mentioned the part of the sale that we're in. We call the sales process 5 parts. Now the close is the last part. Now we've missed the first 4, and we'll circle back around to that. But that one thing said, determine which part, where are you at in the sales process? As you get these concerns, depending on where you are, you may handle it differently. But for the most part, it's okay, because we'll talk more about that later. But let's say once you get the concern, there's, as you see here, these 5 ways are typically the way we handle it. Reverse, explain, admit, deny, or say why. Reverse is one that I use all the time, and Macy does too, and you should as well. Reverse is a great way to handle a concern or an objection. And that's to say, well, that's the very reason you should be using this. Because let's face it, if any decision that any of us can make, there's 2 sides to every decision. There's a plus and a con, there's a reason to do it, reason not to do it. If they're saying some concern or objection, you could get on the other side of that fence easy and say, well, that's the reason we should be doing this. And the Beachbody, let's say, well, Beachbody is multi-level marketing. I don't really like that. And I might say, well, that's the very reason that makes this special. You never see Beachbody advertised anywhere. The only way this product gets to the marketplace is with people that believe in it and sell it.
And that are proven products of it.
Yeah. And so I was, so that's one way to reverse it. Or if they say, I don't have time, well, that's the very reason you should do it. By getting into this consistent program, it's going to actually find you more time later down the road. So that's what reverse is. Sometimes you just need to explain it, or admit it, or deny it if what they're saying is just not true. And then sometimes we're going to use why. And when we use why is when, let's say they're saying something and we're trying to get to that root cause that we're talking about. And so we say, well, why do you say that? What makes you feel that way? And we're just trying to go deeper. And that's how we get to one way that we get to the real concern is, why do you say that? Why is that a concern to you? And then you can get a conversation trying to get to the root cause of what that issue is.
Right.
So those are different ways that we handle it. And then now, however, let's talk about close. Let's step off to the side and talk about closing. We'll make 2 points on closing. One, it's really hard to close unless you've done your job as far as proving the value for what you're selling. Any kind of a sales is an exchange of value. You're exchanging whatever this thing is going to do for someone versus the money they're going to pay for it. They've got to see there's enough value there to exchange that money for it. And you and me as a salesperson must believe that it's there, that we believe it as well. Mm-hmm. It's for their benefit. Maybe for some reason you may not believe it's right for them right now. And if it's not, then you shouldn't try to close. You should say, I don't really recommend we do this right now. And if you do that, they may even want it more once you start doing that. But that's one thing. It's an exchange of value. And you've got to have done your job to prove the value. Then when you've done both those things, then there's no reason not to try to close, because you believe it and you believe the value is there and you believe you've shown the value. Now we're trying to close. Mm-hmm. Now, a reason a lot of people don't close is because they're afraid to try to close, or they just don't do it. They just simply are afraid to ask. And another thing that I've learned, once I feel like I've proven the value, I've handled the concerns, it's time to close. I've always learned to try at least 7 times before you quit trying. I mean, because we're going to teach you how to cushion it and get back on point with a sale, but just keep trying to close if you believe it's time. So closing is a little bit like having the guts to do it. Mm. And the second part about people not closing, sometimes it's the timing of when do you do it. Now, if you're working with someone, you're proving the value, you're trying to, you're seeing that the exchange is there, there's time to make a move. And you've got all this stuff in your head that you want to talk about that you think is so great, and the client or the prospect is ready to buy it. And you just keep talking, and because when they're ready, you stop and close. Mm-hmm. Talking is over. You're looking for buying signals. And so that's why people don't close sometimes. Mm-hmm. Maybe they haven't expressed the value good enough, proved that it's worth what they're going to pay for it, or they fail to try to close, or they talk right through the close by not seeing the buying signal. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit on the side about what closing is all about.
Yeah, and we're going to get more into that for sure. One thing coming back to this right here, this why section, I feel like a lot of times if I'm just trying to catch my thoughts, I will use this even if I feel like I know what they're saying, but or what they're feeling or what their concern is, and I just need a little bit more of a moment to just like gather what I'm going to say, I will do this. And Lloyd taught me something called mirroring. And essentially you repeat the last 3 words of their sentence in like a question way. And it works with your husband. It works with your friends. It works so well. You want to do an example, Lloyd?
Yes. Let's see. Macy, I just don't feel like I have enough time.
Have enough time?
Yeah, I get up kind of late and I got to deal with the kids, and then we got to make breakfast and get the cereal out and things like that. Make some eggs.
Things like that?
Yeah, I got to keep. So basically, when you mirror somebody, it kind of makes them vomit information.
Yes. And it helps me think through stuff. And also sometimes it can get closer to the root. And in like Facebook or Instagram messaging or whatever, like just the last 3 words of whatever their sentence is, it just allows them to word vomit a little bit more. It's like a perfect tactic. So, okay, trial close or back to selling. So now we're going to pretend we've gotten to the point where we have shared value. We feel like this is a perfect fit for them. We have the obligation really to close this because we know that this is going to make a difference in someone's life. Now, if you, like Loy said, if you feel like it's not a good fit for them, you have an obligation to walk away, because we're here to serve people. We have the heart of helping people. And so if you really feel like that this is going to help somebody and it's a good fit for them, and you've shared the value and you believe that this is what they need, we're going to kind of go into trial closing and then also back to selling. So go ahead, Loy.
All right, trial close. Now, a true close is showing the value. If you've done all the work, I mean, that's all closing right there, just doing the work. Then you get to the point where it's time to ask for the order. It's time to make a decision. And sometimes if we're not sure if they're ready and we want to kind of see, like give a little test to see where they are, we do this thing, what we call a trial close. The trial close is where we ask for an opinion, not a decision. And it would be something like this. In your opinion, if you were to go with this right now, would you do the 30-day or the 80-day? So that's giving them an alternate choice on their opinion. And based on how they say that, you might move straight into the close, or you may go back to sell a little bit more. So that's what a trial close is.
So if they were to say, like I have an example right here that says, if you were to go with a program, would you go with the 2B mindset or the 80-day obsession? And they answer 2B mindset, that means that they're ready to close. Is that correct?
Well, possibly, yes. Yeah. I mean, like I said, part of sales is knowing when to close or when to try to close. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you read that, I mean, this is what makes it a little bit subjective as a salesperson. If you read that as a buying signal, and you think they're ready, then just say, okay, let's just do it. Give me your credit card number. Let's go, or however you do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's your call. If you think it's time, then jump into the close from the trial close. If they say, well, I don't think I'm ready yet, then you got to keep selling.
Yeah. So you would go back to what step of the sales process would you go back to if they're not ready to close?
Then you're back to the conviction step, the confidence step, back to the facts and benefits.
Facts and benefits, yeah. Which we need to review that again too. Okay, yeah. I mean, in anything, this could be anything. If you were to have Shakeology, would you go with the vegan or the regular? If you were to go to do this, would you like the orange post-workout or the chocolate post-workout? Would you like me to text you the link or email you the link? It could be anything. Yeah. So this is basically saying, like, when you feel like they're ready, do it. Like, don't keep trial closing. Like, just close it, right?
That's like I said, the job of a salesperson is to recognize when it's time to close and then do it.
Right. And then leave.
Yeah.
Okay, then this is the weigh and close. I really like this. This is how I've used this a bunch, and it has really helped me.
Okay. The weigh and close, you ever guys heard of Ben Franklin? Ben Franklin, he had this way of drawing a line down a piece of paper and put the pros on one side and the cons on the other. We did make a decision. All the reasons for it. And you guys may do this now when you make a decision. I do sometimes. I'll list the reason that's good and the reason that it's bad. And what we know is that in our mind, in human beings' mind, every decision we make, that's what we're doing. We're weighing the pros and cons. Should I, shouldn't I? Is it worth it? Is it not? And what we do as professional salespeople, or basically psychologists, is we help them do that. And that's what the weigh and close is. We weigh, it's like the scales. We're weighing the pros and the cons. And so, and in this course, we got to give you verbatim language on how to say it. And basically say, let's take a closer look at the ideas causing you to hesitate and weigh them against the reasons in favor of going ahead with this, all right? And then what we do is say, okay, and remember before they've been bringing up concerns, and we were handling the concerns along the way. So now we're saying, you're concerned about the time, you're concerned about the amount of money it's going to cost. But the reason in favor was, it's going to make your family healthier, you're going to be more productive, your daughter's going to be more confident when she goes to school, and in the long run, it's probably going to save you money. Then they say, in your opinion, don't you think the reasons in favor outweigh the reasons opposed? And that's what the weigh and close is. You just help them weigh out the pros and the cons, but only use the cons that they brought up during the sales interview.
Yeah, and we talk about that a little bit more. But after, one thing that is really helpful, after you list the opposed, the ones that they talked about, you're not bringing up anymore, the ones that they mentioned, then you go to the reasons in favor, things that you may have talked about. Maybe you are going to the dominant buying motive, which is like the emotional connection. So the example that he used about a daughter being more confident, he's painting a picture of like, hey, your daughter is on the track to being overweight and is not confident in school because of that. With this program, not only are you going to get healthy, but this could influence your daughter's life right here. Talking through the emotional part of why this is so important for their family, right? And then after you list the opposed, you list the in favors, and then in your opinion, don't you feel like the favor seems to outweigh the opposed? And they'll say yes. And you say, great, cash or credit card, or great, chocolate or vanilla. You give them those two options and ask them to choose, and then send them the link and end the conversation. That's what I do. And it's like magic. It works. Do you have any questions so far? Feel free to send the chat some questions. We're going to come back through it again.
Now remember, the one thing, when we're listening to reasons in favor, we're not really listing facts about the product that you're selling. We're listing the benefits to the customer. The benefits is what they're going to hear.
Right.
And the benefits, not really the product.
The benefits that directly relate to them. So maybe time isn't an issue for them. So you're not going to say, hey, it's going to save your time, because that doesn't connect with them emotionally. So these are just a couple points that I thought were really good. So sales is psychology with enthusiasm. The minute that became a part of my thought process as I talk to people, as I go on Instagram stories, as I talk with enthusiasm, that's when everything changed. I talk to people and they're like, hey, you're just excited about life. And I'm like, yeah, because enthusiasm is contagious and people jump on the train when you're enthusiastic. But psychologists, they help, they know that anyone that makes a decision does that. They do a pro and a con, and they help kind of determine the advantages and the disadvantages. And so as psychologists, enthusiastic psychologists, to help them see if this is a program that will benefit them, we need to help them do it correctly. And this also is going to show like, hey, we're on your team here. Like, I do see the things that are not awesome, but I also see the things that would really benefit you. And it puts us on the same side of the table. Another thing, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I know for me, if I feel like there's something on my heart, or if I have a secret, or if I like lied to someone, it weighs on me, right? Like, it's just something I carry. But the minute it comes to the light, and the minute that I talk about it, it like zaps the intensity of it. It just like goes away for me. And that's very similar to having like a concern. People have a concern and they hold it in because they don't want to say it for whatever reason. But the minute it comes to light, it's like not that big of a deal anymore. It's like the same exact concept.
That's a great point. That's one reason you got to pull out that genuine concern. You don't want it hidden in their mind.
That's why you're asking why and mirroring them and asking them, like getting them to kind of dig deep, so that you can get to the dominant buying motive. Again, don't fail to mention one concern. So if they have a concern, like mention it. Don't ignore it. Like, it's there. It's in the air. If you ignore it, it's going to feel like you're hiding something, but don't bring up any more. I know that we've talked about that. this process is going to make you seem fair and honest. Oh yeah, and you can even say like, hey, just to make sure I'm not missing anything, is there anything else that belongs in the column of your concerns or in this section of our conversation? Is there anything else? Did I miss anything? At the end of
another reason, and that's good, because that's another reason we got to make sure there's nothing hidden in there. That's why you asked that question.
Right, because we want it to come to light so that it doesn't feel that scary, right? And honestly, like as Loy and I have been putting the sales course together, what is so unbelievable to me that all this is good human relations. It's talking to people. It's helping them see the good and the bad. It's being enthusiastic about what this could be for them and also connecting with them emotionally. That's all it is. It's just being about the other person. And I'm telling you, the minute I shifted from money to like, I just want to help people. Like my heart is to serve and to make people feel good. Not even to shed LBs or to look a certain way. Like I just want people to feel good and have energy. That's when things change. And people feel that. What they feel you wanting to serve them versus you wanting to sell them. And when we come from a place of serving, we want them to make the best decision. And it's a joy to help them do that. Mm-hmm. Any other points on that, Loy?
No, that's beautiful. I couldn't have said that any better. Yeah, that was good.
So these are just some checkpoints that I just kind of wrote up real quick. So bring all concerns within conversation, but only those. We've mentioned that. After you've listened to the concern, ask what else. We've talked about that. We're not managing these concerns. This happens in the confidence step, which we'll talk about another day. So you don't need to reiterate like, hey, this is why that concern is actually value. Like you are just mentioning them. You're not talking about them all over again. We're not beating a dead horse here. Minimize the concerns that people hesitate by going over them quickly and lightly. So, okay, so you feel like it might be a time issue. You feel like you're scared to commit for that long, and you feel like that it might be too expensive for you. But then when you move over to the value, speak in like a heavy excitement tone, like or what do you say in favor? Wait. What do you say, Dad?
The reasons in favor, the reasons you should go ahead with it are I think the reason opposed and the reason in favor. I think
reason opposed and reason in favor, right? But they hear 35% of your tone and 58% of your body language. So, I know some people have conversations one-on-one or maybe on the phone, but guys, in social media and in Instagram stories, you can totally do this on social media and in Instagram. A lot of times if I hear a concern that has happened over and over within messaging or whatever, I will just straight up address it on Instagram stories and use this tactic and say, hey, I know that it may feel like that it's hard to eat healthy because you have to meal prep, but look at all the time I'm saving by just being able to throw a plate in the microwave and just move on with my life. Yeah, it took me an hour on Sunday to do all this, but it takes me 3 seconds to do this for lunch today. And mentioning that on your phone because everybody else is thinking it. 90% of people's time issues is meal prep when really it takes no time at all, in my opinion. So don't feel like that this is just like has to be in person or on the phone or messaging. Do it on your Instagram stories. I cannot even tell you that enough. And also remember, your enthusiasm is zapped on camera. And so your energy needs to be up times 10. And then that will equal the amount of energy that you're actually feeling like you're giving. So if you're just on the phone and you're like kind of talking happy on your Instagram, it's going to come out like you're really dull and boring. You got to like drama queen it up on the Instagram. And then everybody will be like, oh, she's so fun and enthusiastic. And you're not lying. The camera, it just zaps your energy. I've learned that in my old job because I've had to film things before. And I had to just be like a drama queen to make it even look like I had any emotion inside of me. So yeah, bring the serious tones in the body language when you talk about the value. For any negative idea or concern that comes up, don't offer any rebuttal. Loy always talks about never argue. Like it's walk away from the conversation. You would rather lose the argument and win the sale. Do you have anything to say on that? I know you're pretty passionate about that part.
Yeah, that's a rule in our office. We win no arguments, because if we win the argument, we're probably going to lose the customer. We win no arguments. Now, we can't always give them what they want, but if they need to vent and argue, and we don't need to win there, they can win every time.
Right. Yeah. So we talked about that. Give the concerns a little importance, because that's what they are. They're not important. Ideas that might cause you to hesitate, maybe not call them like concerns, but hey, these are some thoughts that might cause you to hesitate, but here is the value that's going to bring to your life. If you name it this big name, it's going to feel really important, and it's not important. So make value statements that are impactful, and only mentioning the benefits in the buying now column. No need to list any more facts or proof. You've already done that. You're just listing the benefits or the value that it's going to bring. You're not going to say, hey, here are the bad things that you feel like are causing you to hesitate. Here are the good things. It's going to save you time. And the reason it's going to save you time is that, no, you're just going to say it's actually going to save you more time. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to make you be productive. And it's going to bring your family on a healthy track. Chocolate or vanilla Shakeology. And then they're going to hopefully say chocolate. You say, great, I'll send you the link tonight. Walk away.
That's right. Good. Yeah. And really all you're doing here is summarizing the conversation for them. Because in their mind, they're doing it. All we're doing is helping them do it. We're bringing it out in the open and talking about it. It's just summarizing that.
Exactly. So people that have been in this, let's come back to the concerns really quickly. What type of concern do you feel like you hear the most? I do feel like there are a lot of genuine concerns, a lot of like,
well, I had one. I was talking to somebody about the other day, and they said, I don't like food that's already been cooked. I like fresh food. Plus, I like to cook. So I didn't address that. I didn't know what to say about that. So it was a concern I didn't think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think, or either it was a smoke screen. They're just trying to say that to,
but
how would you have that? I had nothing to say about that.
But like, to me, that's where you just admit it. You just say, yeah, I like fresh food too. Yeah. But for me, the convenience of eating healthy is way.
Don't use the word but is not allowed. That right. Word is not allowed.
You're right.
Say a period and then start a new sentence.
You're right.
Don't use a conjunction.
Fresh food is way better. I like to have healthy food quicker than take the time to make food.
Right. Perfect. Yeah, exactly.
It's so natural to say that. And that's the thing about this stuff, you guys. It has to be practiced, or else you mess up like that a million times. And you are going to mess up, let's be honest. But if you're not practicing it, there are times that I'm in the kitchen with Austin, I'm like, hey, let me practice. Like, let's do a scene. Scene 1. Here's this objection. And you just practice over and over again. Get with your husband, get with your kids. Say, hey, I'm gonna close you right now. And just roll with it.
And I think one of the things that you might want to mention again that we might need to, did the cushion part blow by? That cushion is critical. I don't know if we need to work on cushion a little bit here.
You can talk about it again.
Well, maybe role play cushion. Role play it.
Okay, I'll be the person that doesn't like it. I hate shakes.
I can certainly understand that. Sometimes I don't like to have shakes either. Macy, can you give me more information, particularly why do you hate shakes?
I like to chew my food.
Like to chew your food?
Yes, I feel like it satisfies me more when I am eating my meals, and I don't want to replace an entire meal with a shake.
Well, I can understand like that. I like to eat food too.
I made that a hard one.
Is that true?
What? Oh, is this still going?
Oh, well, okay. Let me go with that then. You like to eat. Like I understand, I like to eat too. Uh, the shakes that we make are so full of nutrition and dense nutrition. What that means to you is that you're going to get fully satisfied with something that tastes really good. You won't believe the benefit that that's going to give you and your family as you enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Yeah, what I would have said to that is I would have said, you know what's so great is that you actually are getting 5 meals, not 3 meals. So only 1 meal out of 5 is a shake. It's really just a snack. It's not even a meal. I would have clarified it like that.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I don't
know.
But
anyway, that's good. So yeah, the cushion and then move into it is the way you want to do it. But yeah, that was very good, Mason.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been practicing. Okay.
But the main thing, you guys need to hear the cushion. The cushion is a critical part of this whole thing. Always cushion.
Yep. Get on the same team. You were their counselor and their friend. You were not fighting with them. Dominica, I'm curious. Is any of this like old school to you? Or is this new to you, being in the sales world?
Well, I use these more or less every day in some way, but I never have really thought about them in like a step-by-step process or broken out like this. But as we were talking about cushioning, I was thinking about, anytime a customer, has an issue, that's my go-to. I'm always like trying to be really relatable, and usually that works wonders with customers. I mean, it's amazing that you can people can totally do like a 180 flip when you get on the same level with them.
Yeah, relatable is a great word for that. Awesome. All right, any other thoughts? Any other questions? Mary Alice, does this encourage you at all?
What?
I'm asking Mary Alice.
Yeah. I think about myself, like with my sister, I keep trying, or this other lady. They just, like, some of them know that they're doing, they know they have the tools in their mind to do the right thing as far as their wellness goes. But like I told one lady, I feel like I did something wrong when I said, so I hadn't talked to her for a little while. And we had a good conversation about, Beachbody, what I was doing, and she was all on board. And then she sent me a message because I asked her to watch this Netflix documentary called The Magic Pill. It was really good. And she said, my husband said that he just watched this, and she went into, her husband lost some weight and all. And I said, it's so great that you know all this. It's too bad that you're so inconsistent. I know it was bad.
It is. It's a shame. It's too bad.
I just want to slap her. Gosh.
Well, I mean, honestly, to me, I think the thing that we all have to realize is that, and I don't know if that's the case here, but many times when the few percentage of us who step out and go for it and try things and do things, the vast majority of the people who never do that have a little bit of they don't really want you to succeed, or maybe they're trying to, I don't know I don't know, but my first thought is, well, if it's a relative and, why would they at least not support you and try to help you with this? And sometimes in my business, I found that some relatives were all on board just, coming at me no matter what, want me to do their business. And some, I'd probably be the last person on earth that would do their business. And it's just a mentality that some people have. And I think the people who complain or critique us the most are probably the people who are doing nothing or not stepping out and trying to do something. Well, I think what I'm trying to say is you can't let things like some things just move on because that's just their mentality of some people, potentially. Now, I don't know if that's the case here, but I mean, I've had some family members that I would go for forever, and I couldn't get past first base with them.
Mhm.
I don't even know why.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Are you been trying to get this going for a while and you just can't even get to move?
My sister I have, and then the lady Pam's her name. She's not related to me, but she's the one that asking it. They want all the information. I don't want to give them everything.
Mhm.
Oh, they're trying to get it for free. Yeah.
Yes. So my thing is, I get like.
Well, they're a little bit trying to use you now. Sometimes when some things, a technique we use when we're trying to get people to move forward, or to maybe sometimes we need to make people want something. You girls know how to play the game. You kind of flirt with a guy and walk away and make him chase you a little bit. Well, it's the same thing with this. You throw it out there to the prospect and you say, well, I don't really think this is for you. This is probably not going to work for you. And all of a sudden, then they start wanting it more. Once you take it away from them, you give it to them, then take it away, then they start maybe wanting it a little bit. So sometimes just use the takeaway.
Mhm. Today I got a message on Instagram that said, hey, financially I can't afford your program. However, I ordered containers on Amazon, but I'm so hungry. Can you help me understand them? I was like, no, I can't. Like, I literally was like, hey, it's actually a science. Like, there's a science behind the amount of containers, the combination of containers around certain times of the day, and it's part of the program. I'm so sorry. When you're ready financially, I'm here for you.
Now I had this one guy who was a cousin who I've never done business with him, except maybe just he had this agent, but he kept calling me and asking me questions, and I finally said, you need to call your agent to ask these questions. Well, you're calling to trust me for advice, but I'm not doing your business. So, and I've told people also that I've just been upfront. This is a business. I have to make a living. I have knowledge and information that's valuable, but you have to be a customer. I just can't just give you things if for free. I've got to feed my family too. So there's certain criteria that I have in place for, sometimes I level with people and let them understand, I'm in business. I'm not just playing. It's not a game for me.
Right.
So there's different ways to approach all that, but I agree. You don't give the information if that's all they're trying to get out of you.
Yeah.
And that's part of closing. Part of closing is being a strong negotiator. It becomes a mental game. Let's face it, if there's two guys playing tennis and they're of equal skills and equal conditioning and all that, which one wins? The ones who is mentally stronger wins. And closing a sale or negotiating a deal, all those things are mental strength, because marketing is just, I'm everybody's friend. We're just going to get along. We're all friends. We're amiable. That's all I care about is have relations. But closing, running a business, things like that, sometimes you have to get a little tough and, stand your ground and say, hey, here's where we are. Sometimes that's part of the deal. Gain some respect, or make sure that in a nice, relational, friendly, professional way, but at least gain the respect of what you're doing.
Amen. That was good. Mary Alice, I know you're not scared to say all that.
No, and a lot of things that y'all are saying, I teach argumentative writing and persuasive speaking and ethos, pathos, logos.
Mm-hmm.
All this pathos is what a lot of this is, connecting your family and your health and all, pulling on the heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so good with teenagers. I can just do exactly what I want.
Well, but see, the other thing about sales, here's why so many people don't stick to sales and make it in sales or entrepreneurship. If you think about it, we can do all this stuff. and we're good at it and we believe in it. But out of 10 people we talk to, we're going to connect with maybe 2 or 3 of them, maybe. So you've got to take 7 no's to get 2 or 3 yeses. So the issue is believing enough to travel through the hard times, over the mountains and down the valleys, and to keep sticking with it, because every 7 no's you get, you're going to get 2 yeses. But you've got to get through those 7 no's. That's what it is. I've spent my whole career doing that. That's what we do as salespeople. It's the rejection that you have to be able to handle. Mm-hmm. And you have to keep prospecting, keep finding new opportunities. But I do believe, and I know, that if you take a focus and you stick with it over long term, after a while, people know who you are, what you do. You get some downline people in there. Long-term focus, and you just stick with it, and you just keep doing it over and over and over, it will pay dividends. I probably worked in the insurance business for 5 years before I really saw a profit. For 5 years, I just put my head down and worked and worked and worked and worked. Sales, which is prospecting, taking no's, closing, prospecting. You put in a lot of time. It takes time. You don't just get prospects falling off the tree. You got to go work for them. But if you give that time and you focus and you do that, and 5, 10 years down the road, the dividends are there. Now, I can't stop the money from coming in now. It's just coming in. But those first 5 years were amazingly hard, but I was fired up. I was going to do it. And that's where you guys are now. If you really want it and you really believe in it, you just got to, make that commitment, go for it.
That's so good. It's so funny because it's very similar to that, but tell me one business that opens up shop and then in 1 month starts making a profit. I have 2 friends. One husband is opening a bar and one husband is opening a brewery. And both of them for the last 6 years have been living off of the woman's salary and still have been losing money, even though everything they make in their business is going back into the bar and the brewery, yet they're still losing money. They're starting to, but it's been 6 years. And they're like, yeah, there's no end in sight. Like eventually it will, but it's just not right now. But the reason they stick with it, and I've talked about this a million times, is because they have so much skin in the game, right? Like they have so much money invested. They have a building, they have employees, they have bought in all the supplies to run a business. And they're like, shoot, I'm going to fight into the very end. And so for me, I have learned to have that mentality. This business, you only invest $40 to become a coach. Not even, you can get it reimbursed. So $120 with the program and then the business fee. Like we could all lose $120 and we would be okay, right? So it's easy to quit on something that only costs $120. But like my mentality is like, I am not going anywhere. Like I'm going to fight until this is where I want it to be. And when you just shift that mindset, everything changes. Everything. But that's just me personally. I'm on fire right now.
Hey, I've seen Mary Alice on here a couple of times. I don't know if it's appropriate or not. I'm going to ask her. Because I can see that you're working hard at it. You're digging in. I like that. So my question is this. What's your why? What's your drive? What's your inner drive to make you dig and go for this?
Why I'm doing this? Because I have a goal. It's silly, stupid. I feel like it is. I just want to have enough money to take care of myself by myself. That's it. It comes from a childhood thing. I've always felt this way.
That's fine. That's a great why. I was just curious what it was. I've got one. We've all got a why that makes us go work hard and work. And I was just curious because I can tell that you're working hard at it. And I said, okay, as a matter of fact, my manager asked me that one time. He said, Lloyd, why do you do this? What's driving you? He asked me that same question. And mine was because I want to prove everybody wrong that said I couldn't do this or something like that. I don't know.
I guess it's something like that too.
Yeah.
No one ever told me I couldn't do. No one ever helped me. You know how parents, like my children, I help them with their dreams. I'm helping them. I see the potential. I wish I'd had that. And so I feel like this is my shot.
Mhm. Agreed. And you're at such a young age. It's a great timing for that. And on your, whoever was told you they're taking the pill and they lost weight, I think I'd have said, probably at some point, I'd say, you need to go with that. Fantastic. Good job for you. Because the other thing is the leadership thing. Now, Macy, I'm going to give her a good job on this. She did this probably, how long did you do this before we jumped on board, Macy? Was it a month, a year?
It was a couple of years.
Yeah, she was doing this. I didn't even really know what she was doing. And it wasn't that I was trying to avoid it. I didn't really jump on it as I thought, just another Beachbody thing, multi-level marketing and all that. And it was the weekend that she had to spend the weekend with us, or she wanted to because Austin was out of town. And she was bringing her food and had it on there because we try to live healthy. And I was so impressed. I said, I want to do that. I love that. I love what she's doing. I didn't even know what she was doing really. And once we did it one time, we were hooked. But the point is the leadership. See, whether people were following her or not, that's what a leader does. She believed in it. She picked her direction. She was going for it. She stuck with it over a time period. And eventually I said, I want to jump on board that wagon. But it took 2 years, and she just stuck with it. Mm-hmm. And that's leadership. So your family, maybe they're not jumping on you now, and you say, just stick with it. That's fine. Because Macy does it all the time. People won't jump on. She says, that's great. Mm-hmm. But she keeps leading, keeps doing it. And people are watching, and people will watch you too. So just be a leader.
Yeah, I had a couple emails this morning that were from my 5-day glimpse group. So I have it all organized, and when emails come, it shows the last communication I've had with them. And both were from 5-day glimpse, and they're like, hey, I messed up. I should have jumped on board. Please, please, please let me do it. I'm all in. Give me the link. But I had emailed them probably 6 or 7 weeks ago, and I hadn't heard anything back from them. They ghosted on me. But just from watching my Instagram, I think it's from my Instagram, I don't know, they were like, I was wrong. But it's different. People also message me, and they're like, hey, I've been following you for 3 years. I've been scared to message you. But that's so true. It's just staying with it consistently. But I definitely would feel some second guessing when I was doing it, and I felt alone, and I felt like nobody got it. Not even my parents. They were supportive, but they didn't understand it. And I was like, crap, I'm alone in this. This kind of sucks, but I know that I can do it. I knew in my heart that I could do it. And just coming back to that over and over and over, because it's discouraging. I had a friend come over today, and she just kind of sat and talked with me for an hour. And she's kind of somebody who doesn't get it, if you know what I mean. She's like, hey, you need to have babies. Stop. Why are you doing all of this? You're going to end up just being a mom one day, da, 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 da. And she left, and I started to I started to doubt myself. That one conversation for 1 hour made me sit there and be like, oh my gosh, is she right? That one conversation. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Macy, no, look at what you've built. She's the one who doesn't get it. You get it. Get your head back down and get to work. And it just shows you that the people that you surround, I hate to say toxic, but she's a dear friend of mine, but she will probably not be coming over and having a conversation with me ever again, because she started to put toxic thoughts into my mind. Will she ever be a client of mine? No. Guess what? I don't want her to be a client of mine. If she's going to have those thoughts about my world and what I'm doing, I'm sorry. I just I can't handle the haters. You know what I mean? I can't have those negative thoughts in my brain, or I will lose it. So that might be I hate to think that it would be your sister. I would hope it wouldn't be, but maybe temporarily it's somebody that it's okay, you are bringing me down. You're making me feel like I'm not doing a good work, and we are all here doing a great work. We're helping people. So.
And something else we do in our office sometimes is if we're keep going after somebody and trying to, and we're taking a lot of time on somebody, we'll just write them off, say, I can't spend this much time on this. I've got to move on to more fertile ground. I don't know if that's the case, but sometimes you draw that conclusion. It's time to move on. That's why we just keep prospecting. We're always prospecting.
Yeah.
And trying to find opportunities, because we need those 7 or 8 no's so we can get those 2 yeses.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, well, it's 8 o'clock. I want to respect everybody's time. This is a great call. Loy is like the best ever. Do y'all not love having him on here?
Hey,
Yay.
you're sweet. I love y'all. Y'all are like, I like to work with winners.
Yeah, he's used to girls. He's lived in a house of women for the last, I don't know how many, actually his whole life. He had 2 sisters.
Yeah.
And now all of us girls. So he works really well with girls. He's got a soft heart. Okay, well, I'm gonna post this call. Y'all can message me or comment on the link of the call that I post. Any other questions that you have, and I'll be sure to run them by Loy. Thanks for jumping on, girls. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.